It's official, Minecraft 1.19 will be releasing on June the 7th of 2022. This is something they announced on Minecraft.net using this image of the wild update, and as you can see, it's very interesting. But hold on a moment, why is the desert biome right next to the new swamp? Is there a secret desert update coming? And it does look like that, doesn't it? On this image, they've equally made prominent the new swamp, the mangrove swamp we've seen, the deep dark, which we've seen for a very long time, and something to do with the desert. Are they updating the desert in equal parts to those other two biomes? It's entirely possible that we are in for a big surprise when the update comes out. However, what I think is a little bit more likely, based on the fact that we haven't seen a single snapshot or beta covering this, is that either this was a piece of content that was cut way earlier in the update. I mean, the wild update did imply there was going to be more than a single overworld biome updated, right? But the other thing I assume here is that it's probably just the art department who are making different images to promote things and aren't really basing it in the game. I mean, sure, they looked at the update and they saw frogs in the alley and the warden and stuff, and they've added this image, but also, as we've seen from previous Minecraft promotions, whether it's the bees flying over a waterfall, or whether it's literally the Minecraft art itself for the Java edition, not matching the game, Minecraft art is not indicative of the game itself, and it doesn't need to be. Like with most games, it's just kind of promotional material. However, is it misleading? You could probably make the argument that it is. However, the bigger question here is, do you think the wild update is as good as it could be? I mean, seriously, if you're looking at this image and you're seeing that there is a swamp being updated, you're seeing there's a warden being updated, you're seeing basically every feature of this update on there, and then you're seeing a lot of features that aren't being updated, like squids, rabbits, savanna trees, these fun little underwater ruins. When you see all this stuff together and you realize there's not even enough promotional content to make a whole poster from, it does seem as though there is a little bit of a lack of content in there. However, I think the bigger issue of the wild update isn't necessarily to do with the amount of content in there. We've had updates in Minecraft's past with less content for sure, significantly fewer features, and of a lower quality, I would say. It looks to me like more of the issue comes from the fact that it's called the wild update. The wild update got people's imaginations going very large, and compared to what we got, a lot of people's imaginations probably were lacking. So is the wild update as good as it could be? I mean, everything can be better, right? Literally anything. It's very hard to find something that couldn't be better. However, the wild update in particular does make you question, like, oh yeah, so 2 biomes isn't even enough to make a whole promotional image from, apparently, and so that is maybe a little bit of the issue. Anyway, so the question from Kazahar, though, is, do you think it's entirely Mojang's fault that people are disappointed by this update, or is it partially the people's fault for setting their standards way too high for this update? And this is the really good question. I mean, if you take a glance at the official announcement for this update, which should have been the most hyped time, you'll see a lot of comments, and we'll ignore that bottom one for now, but you'll see a lot of comments like this saying, like, 1.19's a big L. The wild update is actually just postponed features from 1.17 to 1.18. Or you'll see memes like this one, and yeah, it's very funny, Caves and Cliffs Part 3. This seems to be a lot of people's opinion. If not the majority, then a very large vocal minority. And so whose fault is it that so many people are disappointed? And that disappointment is reflecting on Mojang itself in some cases. Here is a Mojang developer, Corey Shiviak, you might know him, the guy who made the brown mushroom, very excitable fella, even wore a bee costume at Minecon Live once year, and he said social media has been absolutely saddening to be on these last few days, basically hinting at all of that stuff getting Mojang employees down, which is a bummer, right? That, like, Mojang is just getting ready to release this big update, and they're all bummed out about the response the community is kind of giving to it. And so, what is the, whose fault is this? And some would say that it's the community's fault. I mean, why are you expecting so much from Mojang? You should just be excited whatever comes out from them. Some people say it's all Mojang's fault. It's all Minecraft's fault because, I mean, they should have released a better update. If the community as a whole is not hyped, that is solely Mojang's fault. You can't blame the users. You can't blame the people when they're not happy with something, right? However, the way I would put this, because everyone who does, is upset with this, seems to blame Mojang as a whole, right? Or they seem to blame developers. Again, the number of people who have said that, like, they're disappointed because of the response to this update, even saying, like, oh, isn't it a shame that we're sharing so much of you? Yeah, really the issue here is that we're sharing too much of our community. Again, kind of, I feel like we're getting into a negative feedback loop here, which isn't going to be good. I think the issue actually here, to give you a fun little paint diagram, is that Minecraft looks something like this, right? There's the people who are doing the bottom level things, directly interacting with either fixing the game or making the game or providing support to users over their accounts and stuff. Then there's the people who do the basic, business development and management of the game. There are people who manage them and who do all the meetings and the higher level targets. And then there's the people who are directly responsible. Did you know Mojang has a CEO, by the way? Even though they're a sub-company of Microsoft, apparently they have a CEO CEO. It's this guy. They have a studio head as well. You might have heard of her. You probably haven't. It's this person. But like, these are the people who are directly running Mojang, who are directly responsible and accountable for making sure that things happen on time. And, you know, if they are repeatedly missing deadlines for updates, if they're repeatedly having to delay features and they're not doing what the community's happy with, it shouldn't be, you know, like a developer's responsibility, you know, like having Lady Agnes come out and, like, apologize for things. It should be these people saying, yeah, we messed up. We did not allocate the correct resources. We did not make sure that a thing we said would happen on time. And so the community gets upset with the developers, which causes this whole cycle to get worse. It is not their fault. It is not even their responsibility. Their responsibility is to show up and work on the game that they love. And as a community, we should be very thankful of that. Whereas the people who are further up on the food chain, who are being paid, in some cases, some ludicrous salaries, you can imagine, being the CEO of the world's largest game and then missing all your deadlines and still getting paid a ton and having none of the heat too, just sounds like the best gig in the world. And it makes me disappointed that people are being negative at either Mojang as a whole or at developers, when again, you know, there's some people who are responsible who are maybe not taking any of the responsibility and who aren't even admitting there's a problem. By the way, just as a fun fact, this is entirely unrelated, but I wanted to share this because I was looking it up for the video. According to Glassdoor, apparently managers at Mojang get paid less than developers, which like makes sense. The skill set for a developer is much harder to find for a very good one. It makes some amount of sense, I guess, but it's also very counterintuitive that like the managers earn less than the people that they're managing. You know, maybe that's interesting to you as well. I just wanted to mention that, like, yeah, don't take any of your rage out on developers. They're not lazy people. They're people who work very hard on a game they love. And it really breaks my heart that, like, yeah, there are some clear missed shots being done, maybe mismanagement. I can't tell you what it is, but clearly if it's multiple updates in a row, you can't just say that one person or one set of people are doing it. You can say that whoever is responsible or is perhaps being paid to be accountable isn't doing a good job. It'd be like complaining to the person who's making your burger that the prices has gone up. You know, you're being a Karen, in other words, by yelling at these people on Twitter who clearly care a lot about a thing, and that's disappointing. We shouldn't yell at people just because they're public. We should maybe, you know, what is the better avenue for it? Maybe there's a fun argument there. Maybe that's something that these people should work on. You know, if I was the CEO of a company that had done a pretty bad job for a few updates in a row, I know that I would be working on making sure we didn't. But, you know, maybe that's why I'm not the CEO of a large company. You know, I'm not doing it. I'd be focusing on making the game better with each update rather than, you know, like, whatever branded Angry Birds thing came out last week. Anyway, speaking of branded Angry Birds things, Rogue Rabbit says, why do they keep releasing updates on Tuesdays? I'm always in school when updates release and I miss all the hype. And it's a really good point. So June the 7th is Tuesday. It's 10 days from now, in case you're curious. Wait, is it? You know, it's very shortly in either case, but it is a Tuesday, and if you work or are at school, the two biggest demographics for video game players, surely it's annoying that the new update's coming out then. And it's weird because the reason Minecraft updates release on Tuesday is because video games release on Tuesday, and the reason video games release on Tuesday for physical releases is because they used to release on Friday to get you ready for the weekend, but then if a shipment was delayed or missed or they needed another shipment, then obviously you would not be able to play the game and you'd miss the key sale time. So by making release dates on Tuesdays, you know, game retailers could have their games ready for the weekend with several days of padding, and so it's just stuck for digital releases, and digital releases have therefore stuck for update timings, and so we have an update coming out on Tuesday when no one can really, you know, well, most people can't play it as effectively as they like to because physical game releases from many years ago. And isn't that fun? By the way, a related question from Colby Wilson is Q&A Saturday question. By the way, this is Q&A Saturday, the weekly series where I answer your questions. Why does Mojang always seem to release their updates when I'm going on holiday? Lol. And I'm in the exact same situation. I'm recording this from a hotel room in Nevada, rural Nevada, in case you're curious. And the reason I'm on this like fun little road trip, I specifically set aside like 3 weeks in June, figuring any time after like the 8th of June would probably be when the update's going to release, to get back home so I could have 3 weeks of like making update videos, etc. And they've perfectly timed it so that my flight home is happening the day after the update, it's going to be a nightmare to work around. But yeah, it's not necessarily a holiday, so we're not in the same situation. But yeah, it always seems like at the most inconvenient time is when they plan to release updates. But anyway, speaking of inconvenient updates, what is your plan for the Let's Play world to generate an ancient city, mangrove swamp, or to get allies? And their plan is to use a world editor to reset chunks. But yeah, so obviously when the update comes out, what will I do with the Let's Play world? Because obviously that world's existed for so long, it's loaded so many chunks. How am I going to find these new features? The answer is, you can reset chunks. I don't like to do external editing to my Minecraft files. I had to do it for the Superflat world because of that weird bug, but I try not to do it in general. That's my rule. I try to only do internal Minecraft itself things. And so the best thing to do is to explore a copy of your world in creative, or maybe, in survival, but explore a copy of a world, find the things you want, mangrove swamps, a woodland mansion, and a ancient city, and then try to explore those things directly so that you can leave as much of your world unexplored as possible. Sure, you'll have to travel a few thousand blocks, but I really like this layering of generation onto old generation. It's going to be really fun to see load up half a world before the update that will be a mangrove swamp seed, load up the other half afterwards. I should do that. That'd be a lot of fun. And speaking of things that'd be a lot of fun, a good question I'm seeing a lot now that we have an official release date. By the way, 10 days to go really is nuts. We're going to begin a whole new world of Minecraft content, even if it's not a whole 5 worlds of Minecraft content, or whatever number of worlds we think we should have. It's something related to Minecraft worlds is, should I make a new Minecraft world to enjoy these new features? And the answer to this is, honestly, I don't think this is the update to start a whole brand new world, unless you're trying to take on the Warden from scratch or the minimum possible stuff, which is totally going to be a fun challenge. And if you're the sort of person who starts a new Minecraft world every 2 days because you're bored, then of course, new update, new Minecraft world. But I personally am not going to be starting a new Minecraft world, which is why I'm going to be exploring, finding an ancient city. In fact, I want to kind of cover how you can find that stuff in your existing world, what you should do, prepare perhaps. And yeah, I think there's a really fun question of well, is it better to start a new one or not? And I think the answer is, well, there's some really good arguments either way. If you are going to start a new world though, I've got a great seed. I uploaded it earlier this week. I think it was Seed Monday, and so if you want to check it out, go watch that video. Speaking of videos you should watch, Timmy Brienza has the final question today. Do you think we'll be seeing a holiday update? And if so, when do you think the first snapshot will be? And one of the most damning things about 1.19 is the fact that people are already so done with it, they're asking, okay, but 1.20, when are we getting the good stuff? When's it happening? When's the new dimension or the new, when's it happening? I want to see some wild stuff. And obviously, yeah, 1.20 stuff. I think it'd be really early to talk about that now. I think one of the big downsides of the backlash to 1.19, because it seems as though developer mood is a big part of getting an update done. I mean, the pandemic, obviously everyone could still work from home, but just the mood of the pandemic is one of the big reasons as to why 1.17 and 18 got delayed, because, they didn't have the collaborative working in the offices. We've heard that mentioned before. And also, after Microsoft bought Mojang, it was a year till they released another update, because all the staff were just I'm not sure what's going on right here. And anyway, so basically, I think it's actually going to be a longer time till we get a snapshot for 1.20, whatever that ends up being. Yeah, that's one of the funniest downsides of this whole mention now it's developers who are lazy, is that I think that actually does demotivate those people in a very serious way. I mean, again, if you're working your dream job, you're working something at least you think is very important, and then people say you suck and it's awful, is that going to make you want to work super hard and even faster on the next thing? Or is that going to make you think that well, what's even the point, and blah, 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 blah. I hope that's not the case. I hope that there's a big, great plan for 1.20. We do know they had some meetings about something in Minecraft's future not too long ago. Maybe that's 1.20. Maybe it's not. Maybe all of this is a lie. All I know is that I'm incredibly excited for 1.19. There's a lot of important things I think we should go through between now and then. How do you prepare for this update? Is it worth starting a new world versus the existing one? All of these fun debates I think would be worth going through, as well as, of course, some more fun 1.19 seeds. This is one of the craziest updates for seed generation, and I really don't think that can be under stress. But for now, I am very, very, very tired. I'm gonna go to sleep. It's very, very late here. I hope you have a good day. I'm sorry about the videos being messy this week, and since I'm now gonna have to record from the United States, where I'm residing for the next little bit, then maybe you can let me know if this microphone quality is better, because I've been holding it and using it like I'm a real microphone person. Maybe that makes things better. Maybe it makes things worse. I don't know. I'm just going to bed now. Goodbye.